You know, for many years, by Krishna's grace, I got to be the temple president here. And I remember, if someone had a donation or wanted to offer some service, who's in charge? Well, different devotees would step up. One time we shot fireworks off the roof of the building when we were not so intelligent, and for Janmashtami, and we caught one of these big trees on fire. It was a whole, the people loved it. They thought it was part of the show. People, oh my gosh. The fire department came with a big truck, came all the way out here, And I remember to this minute, I was standing right out here. And they said, who's in charge? And all the devotees stepped back. It was just like the movies, Oh, he's in charge. Anyway, it was kind of fun. And I was with Tirtha Maharaj one time when he was the president. And Tirtha Maharaj, somebody asked, who's the president? Who's in charge? And Tirtha Maharaj said, that depends. He said, if you have a donation, I'm in charge. Because, to use it, he would only use it for Krishna, of course. And he said, and if you have a complaint, he's in charge. So the joys of being in charge. I don't know how we got off on that. I was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada in Detroit. And I asked Prabhupada, I was a young temple president, Ann Arbor, Michigan, University of Michigan. I think we had maybe 8 devotees living in the temple at that time, It's a little we just started, a little preaching center. And I was on a morning walk with Prabhupada, so many other devotees. And I asked Prabhupada, I said, what does it mean to be in charge? What does it mean to be one of your temple presidents? And I thought Prabhupada would say, you're one of my lieutenants, one of my generals on the field, you're serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. I was kind of fishing for a compliment, to tell you the truth. And I wanted to get Prabhupada's attention and mercy. So Prabhupada stopped, put his cane down, sized me up, and he said, no, he did. He really just checked me out. And so I'd asked, what does it mean to be one of your temple presidents? And Prabhupada said, it means if anything goes wrong, it's your fault. Which I thought, boy, that's what it means to be in charge. It was great instruction, It was right on the money, So there it is. So Jamunapati Prabhu's in charge, or Damodar's in charge, or Balaram Prabhu's in charge, not me. Yeah, ultimately Krishna's in charge. Jaya Radho Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radho Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopijana Balaba Kiribanadari Gopijana Balaba Kiribanadari Jasodanandana Janaranjana Jasodanandana Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Jaya Radho Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Gopi Jana Balaba Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Munatari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariva Jagacharya Siddhant Shesham His Divine Grace Abhaycharan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Charge Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kura Vaishya Brinda Ki Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadip Dham Ki Jagannath-puri Dham Ki Jamuna Maya Ki Ganga Maya Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samveda Bhakti Vinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Say Siddhara Giridhara Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Gopremanande. All glories to the Summer devotees. All glories to the Summer devotees. All glories to the Summer devotees. All glories to the Divine Lotus Feet, the Sri Guru and Gauranga. Let me give you just a simple example of how everything in the Vedas is true and eternally true. Just like axiomatic truth. 1 + 1 is 2. Anywhere you go, that's what 1 + 1 is 2. It's universal. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, of purifiers, I'm the wind. We've all heard that verse. You know what they say? The best thing for preventing against COVID? Fresh air, ventilation. There it is. It's the best thing for purifying an atmosphere. Oh, guess, maybe Krishna was right. Maybe I don't need a PhD from Johns Hopkins, no problem if you're a doctor from Johns Hopkins. But there it is, Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammaganadi Bisaha Kalana Sadasham Mesha Parana Kodano Data. What is it? No, I'm thinking Vyasadeva, Narayan Rishi, the greatest. No? Huh? Narayana Namaskritcha Naram Charam Narotama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. The Bhagavatam is as brilliant as the sun, is arisen after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the personality of God in Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, the goddess of learning Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. So we are on the 4th canto, chapter 25, text 23. Okay, good. There's harmony in the universe. And Narada Muni is speaking to King Prachinibarashat and very carefully making his points to not, to make sure they get through around the king's pride and he actually gets the message. And therefore he's speaking in allegory. Okay. Pishanga Nivim Shushronim Shamam Kanaka Mekalam Padbyam Vanadbyam Kalantim Nuparar Devatam Eva Pishanga Nivim Shushronim Shamam Kanaka Mekalam Padbyam Vandabhyam Kalantim Nuparar Devatam Eva Pishanga Nivim Shushronim Shamam Kanaka Mekalam Padbyam Kvananbyam Kalantim Nuparar Devatam Iva Pishanga Nivim Shushronim Shamam Kanaka Mekalam Padbyam Kvandabyam Kalantim Nuparar Devatam Iva Vishangam Nivim Shushronim Shamam Kanaka Mekalam Padbyam Vandabhyam Kalantim Nuparar Devatam Iva Vishangam Nivim Shushronim Shamam Kanaka Mekalam Lanam Vandam Vishanga nivim shushronim Shamam kanakamekalam Vadyam vadam Nupara devatam iva Vishanga, yellow. Nivim, garment. Sushronim, beautiful waist. Shamam, blackish. Kanaka, golden. Mekalam, belt. Padbyam, with the feet. Kanabhyam, tinkling. Chalantam, walking. Nuparai, with ankle bells. Devatam, a denizen of heaven. Eva, the waist and hips of the woman were very beautiful. She was dressed in a yellow sari with a golden belt. While she walked, her ankle bells rang. She appeared exactly like a denizen of heaven. And it's a short purport. This verse expresses the joyfulness of the mind upon seeing a beautiful woman with raised hips and breasts, dressed in an attractive sari and bedecked with ornaments. Om Gena Temerandasya Gena Gena Salakya Jakshushin Mudatan Gena Tazade Shi Guruve Namaha. So, the Prabhupada said one time that Maya is compared to a woman. And she's not, it's not that Maya comes in with fangs and wild hair and clubs us over the head, you know, that often you can't see Maya coming. She's very attractive, looks good, sounds good. I'll give you another example. You know how, why is an arrow, you know how arrowhead is shaped? Got to cover your nose too, buddy. Why is an arrow shaped like this? It goes in very easily. You're correct. It goes in very easily. But pulling it out, boom, rips out a bunch of flesh. So Maya's like that, noticing that we're attached. Try to break it up. See how important breakfast is when you know, on a half-day fast, which is not really that long, you know. Hey, wait a minute, what's up with, you know? So we have to be intelligent. I'm sorry, and I don't mean to, certainly I'm a fool if I was in this material world. It confirms I'm a fool, you know. Prabhupada said everybody in the prison house, of course you go there, oh, I'm not guilty, the guy next to me did it, you know. But generally speaking, in a prison house, the vast majority, everybody did something wrong. If you've got you see a guy run down the street with the black and white pajamas, well, geez, you know, stripes, probably he's a prisoner. So the fact that I've got this body, I'm foolish. So don't get me wrong. But Krishna himself says, Bhagavatam says, sumedasa, you have to have sufficient brain substance. And the saying I'm thinking about is, there's no fixing stupid. So I'm sorry. But one has to be able to look down the road. Okay, looks good, but what will be the result? I remember one time, anyway, you don't need the background. I was out in the country, and there was, before I became a devotee, and there was a pond, and there was a frog. And I was watching this frog zip, shooting out his tongue, and because, it was a small pond, and he was catching, bugs. And he was great. I was thinking, geez, who designed this thing? Whoosh, whoosh, catching. So everything went by, he'd get it. So a bee went by, and that frog, it must have stung him when he went in, and the frog was hopping around. It's like, it definitely, you can imagine, figured the size and bee in a proportion, the sting, the pain, That frog, I don't know, must have been quite a while till that frog shot his tongue out and ate something again. I don't know. But the point is that just stimulus response, whack! Wait a minute! We need to get out ahead of it. So it's described, and you can reverse it. That the analogy here is of a woman. So, Vaishnavis and ladies, don't take offense. You can also, it's described that the arms of a man are like a big, strong arm. They call them guns, isn't it? Look at, my big, you see this guy's big muscle, next birth gorilla, but that's another thing. But being embraced by that big, strong arm, women like that. So, it works, and that's an illusion. It works both ways. So, it's described that the eyebrows are like bows. And what do the arrow? Because a bow shoots an arrow. What do they shoot? Beautiful glances, intoxicating glances. Hey, buddy. And they go right into the heart, and one's pierced. Prabhupada said that the female form was designed just to distract the man from yoga practice. And it's just all the defenses drop. Chanakya Pandit used to use women's spies. They'll never suspect them. Woman bombers. What do you call it? Terrorist bombers. So, and it works. It's converse, the same thing for men. But the point is that, and taking this analogy as Maya being represented by a woman, we have to be careful. That's the point. One has to, in this world, just because all that glitters is not gold. Just because it looks good. Govardhan Prabhu, the temple president in Detroit, who I can never repay, he asked Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was visiting, Prabhupada would go in front of the deities, so Govardhan asked Prabhupada, when Prabhupada would greet the deities and take Chanamrita and then give class. So Govardhan asked Prabhupada, what are you praying for? Prabhupada said, I'm praying to Radharani that I will not fall down. Now here's Srila Prabhupada, just completely spotless personality. And yet that's how he's thinking. If we are thinking we're in a safe condition, hey, I'm an initiated devotee, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, and we're incautious in our dealing with other devotees. If we think, well, I'm chanting my japa, but I'm thinking about this, or I'm thinking about that, or, I'm chanting japa on a clicker while I'm driving my car, or, listen to the radio, and what is that? But if we become incautious with these, just like if a knife becomes dull, ever try to cut a eggplant with a dull knife? You gotta, it's dangerous, So the point is that we need to be aware, what is the end result of the thing? How does this body, how does it all end? How does this world end? How does it all end? Where is this going to result? What is it? There's the famous example, and I'll tell it because we've got some new faces. But and Balaram told a different version. You told the one about, just like, you were working on my jokes. I've forgotten exactly how it works. But there's a guy who has the rat. But that's a little different theme. The rat who's chewing on the Bhagavatam. So I'll go this way. The yogis would live out in the forest. And they would simple cloth underwear and, maybe a little cloth dhoti or something like that. They're living very simply in the forest. And so the man takes a bath, hangs his underwear, on a bush to dry. Things dry very quickly in India. So while he's doing that, he's going over and doing something. A mouse comes, steals his underwear. Well, what's this? So he's got a friend. We've all got an advisor. Everybody's full of advice. Prabhupada says about don't help me get back to the mouse and stealing the underwear, because I will go afield. He's my rudder. So and I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, we'll go back to it. Oh yeah, Prabhupada said, thank you. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam that, householder, devotee householder, we're living simply, you don't need you need a house, you need some basic furniture, you need a fridge, you need a stove, some simple stuff, and how they're not driven by that, got to accumulate more, bigger, and So Prabhupada says that all the family members will say, oh, you need to make more money, you need a new job, you don't have a new car, you don't have, and they're all, it's right there in the Bhagavatam. They offer all their advice. And Prabhupada says the devotee householder has to know the art of saying, yes, 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 very good, and then ignoring everything they say. I'll note that. Oh, good point. Oh, okay. And they just completely shine it on, So we all have advisors, our own mind, our own senses, other people, advertising. The average American under hypnosis can remember 367 commercial jingles. Yeah, it's all stuffed in there, It's all, So there's so many things we're conditioned by. So back to my friend. So our sage in the forest who had his underwear stolen by a mouse had a friend. Him and his friend, hey, what do I do? His friend said, you need to get a cat. The cat will get rid of the mice. Sounds good, doesn't it? Good idea. Okay, fine. So he gets a cat. Keep away the mouse. But he's sitting there in his yogic meditation. Meow, meow, meow. What is this? And the cat's rubbing up against his leg. He can't. So he goes to his friend, I got this cat. Now this cat's disturbing my meditation. His friend said, well, are you feeding it? I said, what? I figured he'd work it out himself. No, man, you got to get a cow. So you got milk for the cat. So then he gets a cow. You can get an idea where it's going. Then the cow's, what's with this? I got to milk this cow twice a day to feed the cat, to take care of the mice so I can keep my underwear. What's going on here? His friend says, you get married. Get married, you'll have a wife, she'll take care of it. So he gets a wife to milk the cow. The wife says, hey, listen, it's fine for you. You're in meditation all day, but you'll find out when you're married. You never talk to me, what do you know? Oh, jeez, so what to do? So he goes to his friend. His friend says, give her some kids. It'll keep her busy, out of your hair. So then he got kids, and then the wife says, hey, listen, I got the kids. You're fine living under the bushes, but I got to have a house. And before you know it, he said, old MacDonald had a farm. He's got the house, he's got the cow, he's got the, whatever. The kids running around driving him nuts. What is this? So, but all he really needed to do was just get an extra pair of underwear. How long would that take? So, it looks good, but where does the thing end? We need to have our priorities straight. Prabhupada gives a great example. Prabhupada says you go to you're a businessman, suppose, or whatever. You go to a meeting for some convention, some conference. I go to New York City. Let's suppose I'm Badrinarayan Swami businessman, and I go to New York for a conference. So I get into the motel and a hotel, whatever it is. I say, I really don't like this wallpaper. So I spend my whole time, I get new wallpaper. The wallpaper, it just doesn't match the curtains. Who was the guy who said he's on his deathbed, and he says either I go or these curtains have to go or the wallpaper has to go? I forget who it was. Oscar Wilde, I think, is the one who said it. So, we spend our whole time, well, now I got the wallpaper's good and the curtains but it doesn't match the sofa. So I spend my whole time decorating my apartment, and I miss my appointment. And then, hey, motels are expensive. I got to clear out in 3 days. So I didn't accomplish my work, and I can't stay there anyway. What's the analogy? Anyone know the analogy? What's the first part? Yeah, I decorate the whole thing, and I make this material world comfortable, but what happens? Bhakti Alex. Exit stage left. The hook comes, and off you go. And often unexpectedly, or often in or if it's prolonged, it's often not pretty. And then what's our appointment? Okay, fine, you wasted your time decorating your apartment, which you can't stay in anyway. And what's the important appointment? What's the real reason we were in New York City? So what's the real reason we're in this world? We're meant to go around and around. It's a true story. In Del Mar, they have this, what is this, Del Mar Fair? Canceled now by COVID. But they have a Ferris wheel. Not a Ferris, a merry-go-round, carousel, merry-go-round, And if it's a little bit of a cool merry-go-round, starts out slow, and then it speeds up a little bit. But they're mostly for kids and lovers, so it's not going too fast, right? Motor broke on the thing. It started going faster and faster. You know, it's pop, 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 and everybody's having a great time going, riding on the, the little kids are, hey, take a picture. Everybody's taking snaps, And the thing starts speeding up. It's a true story. Kids are barfing off the thing. The guy who was there trying to make out with his girlfriend, he jumped off, bailed out on her. So finally some guy, it's a true story, some roadie climbed up and, there's a brake on, there's an emergency brake. But to get to the emergency, you got to climb across the spinning thing, So risked his life, got across, slammed on the brakes, And there were a lot of unhappy campers. So it looked good, but, after a while, get me off this thing. So what's happening with the wheel of samsara? We're bored, we're around and around and around, been there, done that. So it's a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of looking down the road. Prabhupada says, and again, I'm a sannyasi, so I have a right to say it. And the women can say the same thing about men. But Prabhupada says you have to have 6 things. I've forgotten one. If you want to keep a happy marriage, you got to have a nice house, got to have good food. Maybe that's a 6. You got to have nice clothing. You provide these things. Jewels, aristocratic position. You have to say, well, my husband's the chief bottle washer, and your husband's only the assistant bottle washer, whatever it is, So, kids. So you got to provide kids. You got to, and if you don't hit at least 60, 70% of that, forget that guy. I'm looking for somebody else. And the woman, she got to be a good cook. She's got to be pretty. She got to do this, that, take care. It's the man's got a whole lot of expectations on the woman. So it cuts both ways. So what am I getting into here? That's the intelligence. So a devotee's life, like what do they call it? If you've got an airplane, like that stealth bomber, it has no sharp edges. That's part of the design of the thing. So there's nothing really, it's sleek and has no hard edges. So it's hard to pick up on radar. So, the devotee, intelligent, as Prabhupada calls it, introspective sages, they go through this world, clean and fast. If you're drawing a line by freehand, suppose I have to draw a line from here to here, freehand. Without a ruler. How do I do it? Straight. Devotees are great. Assuming you have no additional, that's a good idea actually. You have no additional assistance. You've just got your hand and the pen and the 2 points. How do you draw the straightest line? Point to point. You look at where you're going. You don't watch your hand. If you watch your hand, it'll wobble. You look at the point. Zip. You look where you're going. Similarly, the devotees know because what is it? Antinarayana Smriti. Everything is measured at the time of death. What will I have accomplished? Where am I going? Ultimately, I have to give it all up. You even lose your teeth. And if you don't lose your teeth, you can't digest whatever you eat anyway. So what happens? And if you can eat it, you can digest it, you can't pass it. I'm sorry, but Prabhupada says they go in a straight line, What is it? The hearing goes, Who? What? What'd you say? Which my grandfather used to his advantage. He had a hearing aid, and when my grandmother would be after him, he just turned the thing down. He didn't hear it. What'd she say? He said, I don't know. I just say yes, Just say yes. Everything will work out fine. So how does it end? Well, the hair falls out. I mean, the whole, it doesn't really. So here we're hearing, oh, geez, look at that. I was saying last night, sorry to repeat, Mukunda, but nobody likes to be cheated. Anyone here like to be cheated? Raise your hand if you like to be cheated. If so, I got a bridge I can sell you in Brooklyn. Anyone like to be cheated? Nobody likes that sensation. I remember the first time I was cheated. It still stays with me, the first time I was cheated. Because it makes you feel like a dummy. That, why didn't I see that? Well, they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You think, well, I should have seen that coming, and then it's just unfair, If you spend your money on something and you get something for, but it's just gone, your hard-earned money. Well, what is this? It's just a very unhappy feeling. So the first time I was cheated, and there's been many more since, but the first time I was cheated, I think I was 6 or 7 years old. I went to a movie theater, and it was a safer time in those days. And my older brother, I was 6, so my older brother was 10, my sister was 8, and I was 6. And my mother, good mother, hardworking mother, safer times, gave us money, and we went to the movie theater. And that gave her time. She got so many things to do. What do they say? A man works from sun to sun, but a woman's work is never done. So I'm offering and the mothers, there was a sannyasi, because I've said some, I've been leaning on the men's side a little bit. And I think it was Guru Kripa in Los Angeles, said to Srila Prabhupada, big tough sannyasi, said to Prabhupada, these mothers with the kids, they're not coming to Mangal Arti. And they're not chanting their rounds all the time. Prabhupada cut him off. Prabhupada said, you don't worry. Prabhupada first said, you're just envious. Prabhupada said, you're so unattractive that no one will marry you, and therefore you're envious. Oh, that shut him right up, And then, that's true. And then Prabhupada said, of course, Guru Kripa built, his hard work built that Radha Vrindavan temple, Krishna Balaram temple. So he's, and his name is in the corner there, and Prabhupada said it should be there. So, there's many sides to people. But as a hardcore sannyasi, he made this statement. And then finally Prabhupada told him, well, they're not coming, they're not chanting, they're always at the morning prayer. Prabhupada said, you don't worry. Krishna takes care of the mothers. It's a hard work raising a kid. You just keep the kid alive and well-fed and taken care of. That's hard work. So all respects to the mothers. So how did we get off on that? So my mother, thank you. So, anyway, so my mother gives a little money, for some snacks. I was in heaven, And you used to have 2 movies and an intermission. And you got a cartoon and sometimes a newsreel. My mom was Yahoo. We were, out of her hair for 4 hours or more, So, my brother's there to watch out for us. So I remember my little lusty tongue and my little avaricious mind, I was looking at the glass counter. I couldn't, reach to the top of I couldn't see over it, but I could see that, and I was calculating all the different candy bars. Which one was the biggest? Which one was the thickest? Which one? I was thinking, this one. Oh, this one says, So I was doing all the different calculations, and then finally I settled on, I figured I'm going to get the biggest bang for my buck. It was a Mounds bar, by the way. I think it was a Mounds. So this big, and this thick. I thought, Yahoo, man, good investment. I got the thing, ripped it open in passion. Too little, what the, what is this? It was on a cardboard tray. It looked this big. It looked these little puny things. I thought it looked like some dog took a dump. I remember thinking, what is this? I said, I've been cheated. I've been hosed. I've been ripped off. I was shocked that someone would take advantage of me. I was a kid. I was an innocent. What is this? I remember my brother saying, get used to it. There's plenty of it, more where that came from. So, a little more hardened by the material nature. But we are being cheated. We are meant to be completely free, ever increasing, unlimited happiness. Prabhupada said, you make Krishna your lover, he'll never leave you. Krishna your father, he'll never send you away. Krishna your child, he'll never grow up and run off with some other woman and go to jail or whatever the grief they cause, So if we make Krishna the center, we're completely satisfied. Even this, I was saying, purify some of the wind. So Krishna says, I'm the light of the sun and the moon. We were in Los Angeles, New Dwarka, up in Prabhupada's room. You can go there, you can see. There's a big window, square window. And the light was, for us, probably dropped down to 50 degrees. Everyone's all bundled up with caps and chatters. Prabhupada was sitting behind his desk. And you know the light, the clouds will clear sometime and a shaft of light will look just like a spotlight, you know? And when it came through the window, it was a square. And it was just like a spotlight right on Prabhupada, this golden beam of sun. And he was he was in that square. It was a really very mystical moment. We're all cold and rugged up, as they say in Australia, and there's Prabhupada bathed in this golden ray of sun. It was a beautiful moment. And Prabhupada, who never missed a thing, said yes. Prabhupada said, someday you will feel this sun as your lover's embrace. That's how Prabhupada, Krishna's the pure taste in water. Prabhupada said, you think you're sitting on the floor? I am sitting in the hand of Krishna. So we have a choice. What are we going to do with our life? Are we going to be cheated by the material nature or by our own material intelligence, because the woman here represents the material intelligence? So many bright ideas. Oh, that sounds good. That's in. No. We need to have a backbone. Armed with yoga, stand and fight, Krishna says. So to become Krishna conscious, you have to fight. You have to want it, you have to fight it, and you have to be intelligent. We have to be intelligent. Okay, we can end there. Does anyone have a burning question? Going once, going twice. Yes, Bhakti Ed. We'll be quick.
I like to think of samsara as this carousel, and you can go from the horse to the chicken.
You can jump from different things.
But good luck trying to get off.
And the thing is, the view never changes. You know, you can be riding on the camel, you can be riding on the swan, you can be riding, but you know, you'll wind up in the exact same place. You didn't go anywhere. It's like a hamster on a wheel. You know. Okay, we can end there. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Nice question. Thank you.